Hey guys, Hardware Hound here, continuing day 3, and now I am here with Phanteks. Now I know some of you guys, you love Phanteks cases, and for all the amazing reasons that makes Phanteks Phanteks. They've got great cases. They have those really great kind of professional metal designs, friendly to modders as well, and yet they don't look plain. They always have an amazing style to them. And so Phanteks has some new cases they are adding to their lineup. Some really nice high-end chassis that I'm really excited about. So we have the Eclipse P600S series. So they've got their banners right behind the cases, which looks really good. Also helps me remember what these naming conventions are. And we got the case right here. We've got a couple of different colors, couple of different styles. This is kind of the metallic gray look. As you can kind of see in the back, there's also a black and a white. Now, this case is kind of designing itself to be either a really nice silent case, or you can still have a good airflow design that will still do some noise dampening. And we're going to touch on that here in just a second. But initially, let's talk about some things I'm just loving. For one, magnetic panels. Look at this guy. This glass panel opens on a hinge and it just easily snaps shut with magnets. And I love that. Magnets are the best because you don't even need a clip, you don't even need a lever, you don't need nothing. You just touch it with a magnet. And then, like a lot of cases, if you need to really get this panel out of the way, I'm not going to push it out just because I don't want to risk breaking a glass panel, but you'll be able to, of course, pop that panel out and out of the way when you're doing building, as always. Inside here, we've got just a ton of building room. We actually have a full ATX design there. We have tons of space for cooling, 360 millimeter radiators, no problem in the front or the top. We have our PSU cover. Now, you guys remember, we saw that, we've seen some power supplies that can actually show off some coloring and stuff, and we can see those brandings. So we can see the edge of the power supply, but we're still covering the cables. Best of both worlds right there. So we have a slot here that we can bring our GPU cable, power cables up, and we can just bring it back and close it if we want to hide the hole, if we got something different. Take a look here, we've got some covers. We can change these things to have hard drive mounts, or if you're like me and you're running off of either just a single SSD or NVMe drive, then they've got the covers to keep everything nice and clean. Now, what's really cool here is they have these panels as well. And once again, magnetic pulls right off. And behind it, there is a mesh. We're going to talk about that mesh more in just a second. Hold on just a second. So you can do this for ultimate silence, or if you want really solid airflow, you can pull these guys completely off. Or if you kind of just want to pick and choose, you can be like, well, I'm doing gaming. I'm going to just go ahead and pull this out for some more airflow and let it sit. All right, I'm done gaming. Cool, we're good. So yeah, really awesome on that design. And then let me get this guy back in here. I'm getting a little bit caught on the mesh there. That's better. And then once again here on the side panel, I can get this. I know I can. Let's come over here and take a look at what Phanteks has got going on for cable management. So Phanteks has always had amazing cable management, right? We've got all of these little Velcro channels that we can easily, tightly push all these cables into the side. But here's the thing. There's no fan hub here, because the fan hub is right up here. Look at that. All the way up in the corner, a straight rectangular design, and so all of your fan cables will be able to come up into here and tuck away down this cable management, and it keeps it from stringing across the motherboard at all. That is brilliant. Getting that fan hub way up there and out of the way is going to help with cable management and keeping this super clean. And then, yes, plenty of space so that that panel will actually grip. Now, let's get over here into this build. Let's start talking about what this means for builds. So right here you can see there's a water cooling build. And something else I didn't mention, you see this graphics card here? This graphics card has got the vertical riser, so you have that option so you can show it off. They've got their PCI extension there. So we've got liquid cooling, radiator, reservoir, plenty of space for water cooling enthusiasts like that. But if we move over here, we talked about hard drives a little bit. We didn't show you what that means. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 drives right there. If I'm not mistaken, if I'm remembering right, 10 hard drives total, right, that can fit in this case. I am getting the nod for yes. So that's just 6 of them. There's a total you could fit of 10 in this case if you're trying to do some kind of data storage or having a good solid RAID 5 or RAID 10 in there. Yeah, this case is going to handle it. But a lot of us are not, that. We got a gaming system. We have probably a tower air cooler and a graphics card. So here's your average build right here. Galax GeForce RTX. We've got our dual tower air cooler. And so what we have going on is a very straightforward build. Now, unfortunately, the air conditioning kicked on, so I can't hear it as much as I could before. But here's what happened when I was touring through here. They've got these fans running at like full speed over here. When you have this panel closed, okay, you don't hear anything. It's silent, right? We've got the panels in. Open up this panel. Oh my gosh, I can hear those fans. Those fans are kind of loud. All right, well, I want some more airflow though. I don't really want to have my case suffocating. Oh, well, I guess I'm just going to suffer with that fan noise. Oh, there it is. There it is. There's some fan noise. Guys, this is amazing. I didn't expect this. So remember we said that the mesh here, this mesh is cloth, right? It's not metal, it's not plastic, it's cloth mesh. Now, for starters, cloth's probably going to grab that dust better. So it's going to probably act as a better dust suppressant. But here's the other thing that cloth is doing. It's dampening the noise. Dampening it way better. I mean, if this was a mesh panel, like a typical metallic one, I would be hearing this fan noise now. It would be like I don't have a panel there. But I can't really hear these fans. Now, I want airflow in my cases, and I'm sitting here saying, yep, give me cloth mesh now. This is fantastic, because it is dampening that noise, not letting it escape the case as much, while still allowing amazing airflow and not hindering at all. I'm sold, 100%. This is fantastic, guys. But hey, if you really want ultra silence and you know that you're okay with dampening some of that airflow, then you can put these panels right back on. And yes, guys, I believe it goes that way. Yes. When you put that panel back on, and it's just like a silent case. Also, don't want to forget, they cover the USB ports, keeps this case looking really clean. Flip up that lid. You can get to your USB 3.0s, USB Type-C. We're seeing that more in cases, which is great because all of our cell phones are going to that, and your audio ports there. Now, that's the new P600S. That's kind of a fantastic case. Keep an eye on those guys because I think you're going to love it. Oh, MSRP. So yeah, we're looking at $140 to $150 in that, depending on some of the case features. There's one that's going to have, if you have like a solid metal panel and you just don't want any window, then that's a little bit cheaper as well. Honestly, guys, if you feel this material, if you feel how thick and sturdy this case is, that's feeling like an amazing and excellent price. Like I'm loving that price point on these cases. That is beautiful. All right, guys, let me just come over here and highlight these guys. We have new water blocks for the RTX 2080 Ti series. We've already got the ones for NVIDIA's Founders Edition Phanteks release, but now they've also as they always do, expand that lineup. We've got the Strix edition from Asus, and we also have one for the Extreme from Gigabyte. And we've got some bigger fins that increase the surface area, which will help that cooling. And I tell you what, RTX 2080 Ti, it knows how to put out some heat. So extra fins are going to benefit that nicely, and you can just see here, they look great. Phanteks also has added new backplates to their normal RTX 2080, like the NVIDIA's Founder Edition, to match the block. So there's the block that we've seen. Here's the plates that match that. You can get a plate to complement that. Black or chrome. Make that PC shine. All right, guys. let's go ahead and move over to something really budget friendly. So Phanteks is keeping their branding towards the enthusiast kind of elite case market. But a lot of you guys have been asking, hey, we got something that's kind of for budget friendly guys like us. And so earlier last year, back towards Computex, Phanteks announced metallic gear, which is going to be a sub-branding of their Phanteks brand. And it's going to help out for those of us who are on that budget or just don't need a super huge case and we want something that's just a little bit smaller, a little lighter footprint, and obviously a lot friendlier to our wallet. We have the Neo G series here, and so we've got several options for you. So right here on the Neo G, I said Neo G series, I meant the Neo series, and now we have the Neo G. All right, I got that right? So the Neo G is an RGB addressable case that has a nice textured front panel here. You can obviously see the RGB fans. It's going to come with these two fans right there in the front. And so, yeah, you get that little bit of splash of color. You've got still good build room here. You've got plenty of room for the graphics and airflow. You can put a couple of fans, possibly even a radiator, kind of depending on your motherboard and RAM, right up here up top. And then you've got a nice side window here to show off your build. The fan in the back will not be included with these cases, but what I'm kind of happy about is they're also not just putting a dull black fan in there. So if I'm like thinking, well, I would like to put another fan, but I want it to match the front, we can add that RGB fan after the fact and not have to just throw away a fan that we just never needed to begin with. So now we have the Neo Air, and so this guy will also have the white option, as you can see right here, and we have a nice mesh. Unfortunately, not the cloth one, but you know, we've got to keep those costs reasonable at this point. But we still have a good mesh front panel, tons of airflow, and we are still going to have some decent amount of dust control here, like helping keep that from getting into your build. So yeah, once again, all these guys are going to have the same build design though, so you're not going to see a whole lot of changes after that. It's really about the panels, and that's where the Neo Silent comes in. So here we have a solid panel that we are going to do. Now, if I'm not mistaken, some noise dampening material still though. We are going to have that in the panels to help really keep that silent. We still have some good intake for airflow in here, so even though it's not going to be as much as the Neo Air, for those of you who want silent, you know that already, and that's not a concern to you. And so yes, we've got a display here for everything, another build that you can kind of see how that's all panning out. So yeah, these guys are going to be very nice. What was that MSRP again?
Neo Silent is $49.99.
Neo Silent is $49.99, guys. So yeah, I imagine that some of the other cases will go up a little bit from there, but that's a fantastic budget range right there. We're talking very sub $100, and that is a great range for us builders out there. Now, they're not totally done though with metallic gear. So I'm going to duck under this light. And we have a set of metallic gear RGB fans. So if you guys wanted to upgrade with some addressable or some solid RGB or even just some plain fans, you're going to have some really good budget options. Right now, the highest fan price, we are looking at a 140 millimeter at $17. And that's for addressable RGB, that's a great price. But then we are looking at as low as $7 to $8 for just a plain black fan if you're looking, hey, I just want some really good, great case airflow. And you can see here, the blades, they are designed, we've got several of them, they're angled. This is going to be for some good forced airflow into your case. Great case fans at a great budget, and they look really nice. So that's going to kind of hook you guys up. All right, so there's our kind of budget lineup. Let's go ahead and go back to some of the Phanteks cases and kind of see what those guys are looking like. All right, let's get back to some of the heavy-duty, super heavy hitter cases from Phanteks. So they've got some prototypes here that they were showing off this year at CES. It is the Enthoo Luxe 2. So yeah, these are in prototype stages still, so they're still working out all the kinks and details and stuff, and we'll probably see more information later on this year. Probably still in the first half though, which is pretty cool. But yes, as you can see here, we've got these mesh sides here, and these are that cloth mesh that we already mentioned, which is really, really awesome. Now over here to this side, you can see they have a build here, and let's just show you what's going on a little bit. Yeah, so we've got liquid cooling. We've got our PSU shroud that is turned upwards so you can hide the PSU in the back, which leaves room for a mini ITX dual system in this case. So you can do dual system, you can go crazy with the water cooling. You can also though do dual power supply in this case. So you can have the one in the back and one up here up front. And so we've got all the RGB lighting. We've got Phanteks' RGB controller controlling a lot of this here that we're seeing. But come over here to this back side. So for starters, we have a light ring here. Nice little minor touch of flare just to add a little bit to the side. But you know what's ugly on every case? The backside panel, because you know what? There's just cables there. Nobody cares. Nobody wants to show off the backside of the case, except Phanteks, because they have cutouts on their back panel, so you can see the RGB fans on the water cooling here, and that is 3 Team Group SSDs with addressable RGB. This looks really cool. I love this. And this is an actual tempered glass panel. This is not acrylic. So we got a little glass window here to really show off that lighting. And you can see through the filter here, the fans. This is just a really cool way to bling up the back side of that case and make it feel like a complete unit. So we talked about some dual power supply potential. So if you remember, right here, we have the Revolt Pro. The Revolt Pro is that Phanteks released this a while back. This is a 850 watt or 1000 watts power supply that is very budget friendly, and you can chain them together so that they will work simultaneously in a system. Now, if you get 2 of these together, 850 and 850, do the math. That's 1700 watts. Now, in the roughly to, what was it, maybe 150 to like 175 price range, give or take a little bit. You can get 2 of those 850s and have that much wattage going on for power supply. That's really, really hard to beat when you buy an actual full a lot of your 1600 watts or plus, you're talking $200 easily, plus even $300 in that range. And if you get 2 of the 1000 watts, that's 2000 watts of power supply that you can put to one system because they can connect and work together. So we also have the Revolt X still, just kind of showing that off. This is the power supply that can actually power 2 systems. We talked about how we have those systems that have an ATX board and a mini ITX. Something like this would be great if you're trying to keep your footprint a little bit lower. Now, let's come back here to these dual power supplies. How are these guys going to really factor into the future? Let's go check that out real quick. Behold the monstrosity that is the Entoo Elite. This is this ginormous case that has all the space in the world that Phanteks has. And so, yeah, huge case, tons of space, but we kind of know about this case already, right? Why does it matter? Take a look at this motherboard again. Well, I say again, we've seen a motherboard like this, right? See how ginormously huge this is? This is this new board that Intel has coming out, and we haven't really heard anything about it. But we're seeing 14 inches across, 14 inches tall. So you're going to need a case like that for a board like that. Now, if you notice, there's 2 24-pin connections for this board. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 CPU power connections at the top. You're not running that off of one power supply. If you have these Revolt Pros, you can run this board, and you can do it on a lot less stress on each individual power supply, which is going to help. If you know, guys, how power supplies work, if you are keeping your power between 50 and 75% of the rated wattage, so if we're only drawing out of an 850 watts, say 600 watts, then we are getting like maximum power efficiency. We're not wasting that electricity money to heat. We are letting it actually be used for the computing that we are doing. And so a dual power supply is going to start looking really sweet for something like this. Now, did you notice this bad boy right here? Of course, Phanteks would already have a liquid cooling block for something that I'm pretty confident is going to desperately need some liquid cooling. Look at the size of this VRM block. What the heck, guys? Look at this is the cold plate right here. This bar. This is what's going to be sitting on the VRMs. How many VRMs are on this guy? I mean, I'm seeing what looks like 8-channel RAM. I'm thinking channel, not slots. Like 7 or 8 channels. I don't know what Intel's cooking up here, but it is monstrous. And Phanteks also has a block for the chip. So whatever CPU is coming, look at how big this cold plate is. So Phanteks is already prepared for it. They are going to offer some awesome liquid cooling, performance for this, and so that's cool. They are on top of it. I haven't seen anything custom for this yet, but Phanteks is the first that I've seen. So this is really, really cool. All right, guys, I think that about covers it. That is a lot of super impressive things coming from Phanteks. Of course, really though, those P600S series, I'm loving that design. I know this isn't going to be for everybody, but still cool. We got to show it off, right? All right, guys, we're finishing up here. We're getting close to the end of CES. I will catch you soon.